as Kyrie is reportedly headed to the Brooklyn Nets on a 4-year deal that would pay him a sum total of $141 million. Will he be joined in Brooklyn by Kevin Durant? That is the night's biggest question. While we await Durant's imminent decision, let's turn to Michael Scotto, who covers the Nets for The Athletic. Michael, appreciate you taking the time on this very busy day and what could be historic night for the Nets franchise. First, what's your take on Kyrie making such a quick and swift move to Brooklyn?
Well, first off, Jared, my pleasure. When you look at Kyrie, part of this decision, I think, in making it so early is a little bit of pride and being able to go into a big market, still trying to show off his brand. Even though the Nets are in Brooklyn, obviously you're part of the New York market. And at the end of the day, it gives him an opportunity where it almost looks as if he's kind of recruiting Durant and getting it done. Now, I've talked with Kendrick Perkins, Kevin Durant's longtime teammate in Oklahoma City, and he told me that he doesn't think that that's going to sway Kevin Durant one way or the other, and he doesn't think it's going to be a negative either, as I wrote on The Athletic, because ultimately, if the two join, it's still going to be Kevin Durant's team. For the Nets, this was somewhat of a risk because you had D'Angelo Russell, who is 4 years younger and just coming off an all-star campaign that was going to be cheaper in terms of his salary, but Brooklyn felt that Kyrie was another level higher in terms of his tier, and he is a proven playoff performer. Aside from, obviously, last year was not his best, but in the past he has performed well. So for Brooklyn, it was a worthwhile gamble, and they wanted stars, and this was something that was unthinkable 3 years ago when Sean Marks took over. Now that vision has become a reality.
How much of the Nets courting and recruiting Kyrie Irving do you think is tied to the lure of getting that second star in Kevin Durant?
I think that it certainly helps. You know, if you're Kevin Durant and you're coming off an Achilles injury and you want to continue to compete for titles and make life easier on yourself, I think that you have to have at least one star with you. Now, I'm not saying you need to build a super team. Kevin Durant wants to have his own team, and for his legacy, from what I've heard, you know, have a team that is his. And I think Kyrie with him is the perfect kind of tandem for that, because we've seen Kyrie at his best alongside LeBron James being the Robin to his Batman. We saw what happened in Boston, where him being the face of the franchise and being the leader and the alpha dog was not best suited for him. Durant is willing to take that wherever he signs, especially if it's in Brooklyn, and he can be the guy who is the face and the focal point and that alpha dog, and those two would theoretically make a good mix.
Michael, without jumping to conclusions or getting Net fans too excited, 6 years after making what some have deemed the worst trade in NBA history, swapping so much to get Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce and company in there, and that clearly did not work out. Mm-hmm. Can you put in perspective for us what it would mean on this night if the Brooklyn Nets go to sleep with both Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant on their roster?
Well, in terms of the trade that you brought up, I would describe it in one word, Jared: ironic. Especially if they end up getting a pick back from Boston in a three-team sign-and-trade scenario, as ESPN first reported. But, you know, I think that the other word, you know, when you look back to where they were to now, is it's surreal. The Nets have done it by finding guys off the scrap heap who were out of the league, essentially, and Joe Harris and Spencer Dinwiddie turned them into valuable pieces. They've drafted starting caliber players in Jared Allen, Karis LeVert, Rodions Kurucs, and now they're hoping to supplement that in free agency. The way the NBA is structured, that's the ideal method of building a team. So, you know, for Sean Marks, you know, one of the other things, too, you hear about Kyrie, there was concerns about how he would fit the culture and their chemistry. Obviously, last year, the Nets all liked each other. Sean Marks and management realized that that team had a peak and a level, and they hit that in losing in the first round to Philadelphia. They knew they needed to become a finals contender one day in the Eastern Conference. They needed more elite star power. Say what you want about Kyrie, his attitude, his moodiness at times. As a basketball player, he fits that mold 100% and is an upgrade over D'Angelo Russell.
Michael Scotto from The Athletic covering the Brooklyn Nets. Thank you so much for your contributions here, and we'll probably be checking in with you before the night is over here.